Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to you on Market Today at Business Today Television. It's a Monday and it's also the first day of the 7th month, which is July. The markets are in absolutely rocking shape and all of us enjoyed a fabulous Saturday with the men in blue winning the World Cup T20 2024 Cup for us. What a fabulous match we had on Saturday. And that fabulous match is also mirrored by the performance of the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. Let's hope the injection of enthusiasm that has come into the government, that has come into the country thanks to this wonderful World Cup win now percolates lower and lower and better as far as market sentiment is concerned. As usual, we will start with our daily chart of the Nifty, which is right there in front of you. It was a very strong closing on Friday, above 24,000 for the week, for the month and for the half year. So that's very critical. It was a record close above 24,000 as far as the Nifty is concerned. You've seen a mild red tick of 34 points. Absolutely nothing to be worried about for two reasons. It was a mild bout of profit booking after 4 days of a stunning rally. If you see the chart of the Nifty rose about 2% in the last trading week from a low of 23,350. We saw a high of about 24,100 or so. A bit of a profit booking towards the fag end of Friday and nothing to be worried about at all. So this is how you see the momentum as far as the market is concerned. Let's dig a little deeper into what is expected in today's trade, and we'll go point by point. This is the Nifty chart right there in front of you, and you can see the sharp spike that has come in on a daily basis on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, and then just a mild close. The Nifty is above its short-term moving average, both 5 and 9, so a bit of a moving away from its shorter-term moving averages, and that needs to be corrected either by a time-phased consolidation or maybe a mild downtick. Let's look at the basic details. So as far as the Nifty is concerned, we are in a consolidation zone. 24,200 is a major resistance, and a very strong support is seen at 23,950 and 23,900. What are the stocks that are showing a sharp uptick as far as the Nifty is concerned? I'll try and show you the Reliance chart, which will be right there in front of you. Reliance rose for three and a half consecutive sessions and obviously closed at a record high. It being the second heaviest weighted counter in the Nifty is providing a very strong momentum on the long side. If you listen to technical analysts, well then 3,300, 3,400 on the charts is due as far as Reliance is concerned. Now the movement of the Nifty as also the Bank Nifty will depend on the second quarter earnings in the month of July, which should be upon us somewhere by 5th or 7th, and of course all through the month of July. In focus will be IT stocks, in focus will be telecom majors, in focus will be cement companies, in focus will be banking majors. So we'll be keeping an eye out on that, and therefore the move from now on would be dependent totally on outperformance of quarter and quarter as far as corporate India is concerned, and of course an year-on-year rise as far as the Nifty is concerned. Remember, the EPS, quarterly EPS of Nifty is somewhere like 1100 rupees, and that puts the price earnings multiple somewhere like 22.5, 23, which is fairly fine and okay valued. As far as the F&O markets are concerned, it's the Nifty Midcap Selects weekly expiry today. Remember, the index was flat over the last 4 or 5 trading sessions, actually down 0.5% as people concentrated their energies on large cap stocks. Amongst the top performers within the Nifty Midcap Select index were Persistent up 6%, Emphasis up 2.5%, Idea Cellular and of course MRF. A decent bout of short covering is seen in a lot of software companies, and that is one focus. I'll request the PCR to also show the Nifty IT index and Reliance Industries. These are two pillars on which probably Nifty will now move up ahead, and they need to be seen. As far as the options data is concerned, well, there is good news coming in from our foreign friends. A lot of intense build-up of long positions is seen in Nifty contracts, now totaling 3.4 lakh on the long side. Remember, about the same time in June, the net contracts were a short 3.1 lakhs. So it's a complete swing, and that's the reason in the month of June you've seen the Nifty appreciate 6.5%. Now from then on, let's see how earnings pan out and how these faith that the FIIs have reimposed in Indian markets work out. Very, very strong option resistance as far as Nifty is seen is at 24,200, so that is a supply zone, and an equally strong support is seen at 23,900, 23,950. So any dip towards 23,900 on an intraday basis has to be purchased as far as the Nifty is concerned. Range bound trade on Bank Nifty, extremely strong resistance at 53,000 and 52,500, and a very meager support at 52,300, 52,000. So if you see the Nifty somewhere like 52,000, then maybe an intraday buy is possible. As far as stocks are concerned, we'll be keeping an eye on auto numbers, which is the month of June. You have strong volume sales as far as tractors are concerned, but Maruti may disappoint. You'll have a percentage point, about 2% point rise as far as Hero Motors is concerned, and Tata Motors is concerned. They are raising their prices, and of course stocks to watch will include Vodafone Idea. The company over the weekend has announced a tariff plan following its larger rivals Bharti and Jio. So a 10 to 21% rise in annual tariff, monthly tariff, which comes effective from July 4th. And of course Ultratech Cement, the company's added a 3 million ton fresh capacity, which becomes operational in the month of July. I believe Sakshi's joined us. A very good morning to you, Sakshi. How was the weekend? Did you spend Sunday partying, or did you spend Saturday night as well as all of Sunday partying?
In fact, the latter is true, Shail, and it calls for a big party and big celebration, because it is a different feeling altogether to be called world champions. And when it is cricket, it is definitely pure love for all Indians, and this is after a long haul that we've seen us winning the T20 World Cup. And a lot of emotions that came through. Who says men don't cry? It was a different scene altogether that we saw on the cricket field after we won the match. And, of course, it rang a lot of bells within a lot of hearts in India. Everybody's hearts were full after that spectacular victory that we had. And just the same way, Nifty and the Nifty Bank have emerged as true champions on the D Street as well. What a spectacular run that we've had. A dream run at that on the markets. 24,000 on the Nifty, 53,000 on the Bank Nifty, 7,000 point run in the last 4 weeks or so. But the big question is, will exhaustion now set in, as these champions have been running consistently for the past 4 weeks or so? Of course, today is another beginning of a new month, a new quarter, and the second half of the calendar year. The first half of the calendar year, we've actually seen the Nifty rallying about 10% already. All eyes will now be on the earnings and then the upcoming union budget. So a lot to really chew, a lot to really look at how the fundamentals will shape up and will continue to, show promise as far as the onward journey will be. Like you pointed out, of course, a lot of stocks that we will be keeping an eye out on. The overseas data also is very, very important for all our viewers to really keep an eye out on. So US markets ended with losses on Friday, with the Dow Jones slipping about 0.1% in trade. The S&P 500 dropped 0.4%. The Nasdaq shed about 0.7% in trade. Most of the Asian markets declined on Monday, and this is after data showed that China's manufacturing activity struggled to come out of the negative territory, raising concern about the world's second largest economy. So we did see the Nikkei down Nikkei gain about 0.5 odd percent, but the Kospi was lower in trade. You can also see the US markets in front of you, both the Dow Jones and the Nasdaq declining, just about S&P 500 that was up and about, and the Hang Seng just about up. So, and even the Gift Nifty is just indicating a flattish with a positive bias. So we have to be very, very careful with our brimming expectations on the markets after we've actually seen a dream run. Stocks that we need, and of course the FII flow, that is important to track. 23 odd crore rupees was sold by the FIIs, on Friday. And on the other hand, domestic institutional investors were net buyers of 6,658 odd crore rupees. The key stocks we'll be looking at, auto stocks, the entire pack will be in focus because they'll be reporting their sales data. And of course, Vodafone Idea you've talked about. We've already seen Jio and Bharti Airtel raise hikes. Now it's a 10 to 21% odd hike coming in, even for Vodafone Idea. BEL, remember, on the fag end of the market's close, Shail, you had pointed out that BEL will be the stock to watch out for on Monday, and this is on account of a huge order, 3,172 odd crore rupees from Vehicles Nigam to supply sighting and fire control systems for the Indian Army tanks. So I'm keeping an eye out on that too. Cochin Shipyard, again here, a wholly owned subsidiary of the company, has signed a contract with Wilson ASA in Norway for the design and construction of 4 6,300 TWD dry cargo vessels. So that's also going to be key. Godrej Properties, it has acquired a leasehold right for 11-acre land parcel in Pune with a revenue potential of 1,800 crores. So I'll keep an eye out on that one too. And the development on this land will comprise of both group housing and high street retail. IRIDA is going to be in focus. Loan sanctions are up 5 times on a year-on-year basis in the June quarter. Disbursements have grown by 67.6%. At the end of the June quarter, IRIDA's loan book now stands at 63,150 crores, up 33.7%. So earnings are looking to be promising probably this time around for IRIDA. JSW Energy, again, it's got a letter of award for 300 megawatt wind solar hybrid capacity from SJVN. Ajanta Pharma is going to be in focus because the promoters have created pledge on 4.5 lakh shares of the company on refinancing. Bank of Baroda, it's going to be considering capital raise plan for financial year 2025 by raising funds on July 5th and to raise funds via additional tier 1, tier 2 debt capital instruments this time around. And on the cement pack, remember this entire space was in focus last week. Ultratech Cement has commissioned an additional 3.35 MTAPA clinker and 1.8 million tons per annum grinding capacity at the existing unit in Andhra Pradesh as well. So these are some of the stocks that I'm keeping an eye out on, Shail.
A couple I'll add from my side, Sakshi. We'll focus on the specifically real estate majors in the Mumbai metropolitan region. Knight Frank, a very well-known global real estate agency, has released data for registrations in the month of June. They are up 12% year on year. As far as the numbers are concerned, they stand somewhere like 11,000 units. So Macrotech Developers, which is Lodha, and Oberoi Realty is something that to be looked at. Of course, most of these registrations are for the aspirational large-sized homes priced obscenely in the Mumbai market, be that as it may. And a bit of caution, the 12% uptick does not mention how many are new purchase markets, or how many are newly purchased units, or how many of them are in the rental category. So that data has to come in. And apart from that, Sakshi, we'll be keeping an eye out on the US 10-year yield. That is something to be noted. The presidential debate, Sakshi, that happened last week has created a lot of issues in the bond markets. You'll see the US 10-year yield coming right there in front of you. A very, very sharp uptick happened over the last 2 trading sessions. That's the highest since June of 12th. And the reason why it's gone up is that people now are expecting Mr. Trump to win the US presidential race, and that administration is likely to add to inflation. Therefore, the possibility of rate cuts goes down, and therefore you see the uptick that is happening in the US 10-year yield. Mr. Amar Singh, Senior Vice President for Research at Angel One, is with us. A very good morning to you, Amar. Who do you think will be the outperforming stock as far as the markets are concerned today and in the month of July, given the wonderful market performance that we've seen so far in June, and of course the fabulous World Cup win on Saturday. So where is the cricketing momentum likely to be seen on Dalal Street?
A very good morning, and thank you for having me on the show. So overall, what we are seeing is that markets are definitely, I would say, taking everything in their stride. We've seen the election results, how the markets have reacted, knee-jerk reaction, and then we've seen a rally. Then we've seen some stocks which really weren't moving, like HDFC Bank, one of them. Reliance definitely was in an uptrend, but not HDFC Bank to say. ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, they were definitely in an uptrend. SBI was in an uptrend. Auto stocks were in an uptrend. But HDFC, which had a major weight, we've seen some significant moves there. So that tells me that there's a lot of positive momentum and positive views on the Indian economy going forward. And also we've seen the FPIs, they've also now started coming back into India and they've started investing. So that also is a positive sign. Global figures, as you said, that you've got the US presidential election. So that's definitely going to have some headwinds. The US Federal Reserve rate cut. I don't think markets are really pricing in much there because earlier there were forecasts of 3 rate cuts, then 2 rate cuts. Now even 1 is fine. So markets are overall, I would say, very flexible and adjust to the forward-looking statements that comes from these central banks. Having said that, I see that budget is definitely going to be a major expectation. Also, what we are hearing from the government statement, some of the ministers, they've been saying that it would be, and even the president in her speech said that this would be a major reforms thrust budget. So markets are anticipating, markets are expecting something big and bold happening in the budget. So we'll have to wait and watch. But overall, see, what we are seeing is that Indian markets are definitely there to grow. If you see the returns over the last 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, returns have been there. So yes, definitely that question is always there in the minds of investors, depending upon the risk appetite, when to invest, is it the right time to invest? So there's a very nice saying that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years and the second best time is now. So the same goes with investing. So if you're looking at the markets from a long-term perspective, looking at quality stocks, but yes, you have to be prepared for, I would say, corrections as well, because that is not ruled out given the way we'll have the second half of the year panning out in terms of quarterly results and also in terms of major, I would say, US presidential elections, because that could really set the tone and direction for not only the US markets, but global markets as well. But overall, the long-term uptrend trajectory remains intact. You've got, I would say, sectors like Pharma is definitely one sector to look at. Then I would say automobiles definitely in the two-wheeler space. FMCG stocks should move up. So these are few sectors which could perform well.
To you, Amarji. Good to have you with us, and for sure you've set the context as to how to expect the markets to traverse from now on. But telecom space is something that I want to start off with. Especially with the tariff hikes now done and dusted for all the 3 major players. Now even Vodafone Idea has upped the tariffs this time around. How are you really going to be looking at this entire space? Brokerage houses reports consistently hiking their targets. So Nomura today has come out with a report on Bharti Airtel and a target price of 1650 on the tariff plans, and how this could really help augur the ARPUs for the companies. And Vodafone Idea, again, there is a Citi report which is now upgraded Vodafone Idea from neutral to buy, and with a new target price of 23 rupees versus 15 rupees earlier. And in a bull case scenario, they also believe the target price could actually surge to 28 rupees or so. And Reliance Industries, of course, has been hitting record high levels on its own too. Your own sense, how would you look at these 3 players?
Yeah, I would say that with the rate hike, it's expected that close to 45,000-50,000 crores is what would be the increase in revenue for these companies. So that's definitely a big chunk, and they've been waiting for a rate hike, and that's now across the board. So definitely the companies would gain, and we've seen that reflecting in the price. Because first talking about Bharti Airtel, because that's purely I would say pure telecom like Vodafone Idea as well. So if I look at Bharti Airtel, the stock is up in this quarter itself is up by almost 17-18% on a year till date basis is up by almost 40%, and the stock is trading at record highs. So if I look at that, what we see is that last Friday, The stock did correct from the low, so it opened at a high and closed at the almost a low. So the markets definitely seem to have anticipated this. And on 21st of June, there we had seen significant volumes on that particular day and in Bharti Airtel. So I would say that if you ask me for the trend definitely remains strong and firm, but Friday's high should act as a zone of resistance. But this stock is a buy on dips because till the time we don't see a trend change, and also a decline in momentum even on the long-term charts or on the intermediate-term trend, that should be a buy. Looking at Vodafone Idea, see Vodafone Idea again has been it's like a slow and steady wins the race sort of thing because it really hasn't done much. But if I look at from a year-to-date perspective, the stock is up by almost 11-12%. But it seems that the worst seems to be over for the stock. The levels to watch out for Vodafone Idea, I would say somewhere around, if you really ask me, for any major move, the stock needs to sustain above the 21. So currently it's around 18 odd or so. So if it manages to sustain above 21, 22, then the stock is headed for a significant rally. Then we could even expect a 35-40% rally in the stock. So that's a level to watch out for. I would say 21, 22 is the range to watch out for Vodafone Idea because it seems to have been building momentum on the long-term charts, on the intermediate-term trend. So that's a level to watch out for. And again, Friday's high is something which needs to be watched out for both these particular stocks, be it Bharti Airtel or be it Vodafone. Coming to Reliance, I've been speaking that Reliance continues to remain very strong on the charts. Breaching the 3,030 levels, the stock is up by almost 3-4% from the current levels on significant heavy volume. So the trend remains up. It needs to sustain above these levels. So I would say the triggers would also be how Bharti Airtel and Vodafone Idea perform. So that also could be some trigger there as well.
Right. Amar, let's focus on the research that is coming out of Angel One. I'd like to know, as far as the quarterly results are, the season is right there in front of us. One or two stocks in the mid-cap and the small-cap space where you see heavy outperformance coming in terms of actual profit growth year on year.
So you've talked about any specific company, or you want to which company you're talking about?
Yes.
Which company?
So I'm asking that in the research universe that Angel One tracks.
Okay.
See, my question is a lightly broad-based.
Okay.
In the research universe that you have, which are the stocks that may outperform in the coming quarter in terms of actual profit growth year on year?
So I would say there are many stocks in that category. We like some of the stocks from the auto space as well, and also I would say from the NBFC space. So some of the stocks is one of the stock is definitely from the I would say auto space, and that's Bajaj Auto. That's one stock we definitely like from a long-term perspective. And also what we are seeing is that from a medium-term to long-term perspective, we are expecting that there could be a bump up in the rural demand as well as to a certain extent in the urban demand. So that would bode well for this sector. So this is one stock one can keep a close watch on. I would say the other stock to look at is again I would say Tata Motors is one stock one can keep a close watch on. This stock is very strong and positive, and the results have also been fairly good. So it needs to sustain above the current levels. So this is one stock one can keep a close watch on as well.
Okay, got that. So Amarji, apart from this, I also wanted to understand from you, how about the shipping space particularly? There is continuous order flow that's actually coming in for a lot of these companies that continues. Do you still think that there could be enough and more steam? So a Cochin Shipyard, BEL, they're again in focus on stellar orders that are coming their way.
So if I look at the shipping space, we are seeing some sort of consolidation there now post the rally. And the run-up has been extremely, if I talk about Cochin Shipyard to start with, in this quarter itself, the stock is up almost 154%. And if I look at the returns of this particular stock, so the stock has been in an uptrend, but now we are currently seeing some sort of consolidation there. If I look at the stock PE, that's somewhere on the higher side. So, but markets are generally pricing in that. It's in the excess of almost 70%. If I look at the sales growth, if I look at the profit growth has been phenomenal for this particular stock. That's the reason we've seen this sort of rally. Even if you look at the price to book value, that's almost 11.6. That's on the higher side. So markets are, I would say, have given them a lot of, I would say, value. But at the current levels, we could witness some sort of consolidation. If I look at the other stock, Shipping Corporation of India, again, this is one stock where it seems to have run out of steam, and we could see some sort of consolidation here as well. If I look at, again, the PE is extremely high on the higher side. That's in excess of 75. If I look at the, I would say, profit growth has been good, almost 33% over the last 3 years. So overall, the company has been doing good, but I would say we could witness some consolidation. So you need to be careful at entry at the current levels in these shipping stocks.
Fair point. We've seen nearly a 3x rise in the price of GE Shipping from 400 to 1300 over the last 18 odd months, and that's a fair assessment to make that time is actually needed to be turned to cautious. Amar, the other space that is buzzing very well in the market these days is cement counters, primarily by two major acquisitions of mid-cap spaces. Within this space, maybe one or two stocks that you can highlight from Angel One Research, where you feel these are mid-cap targets for large accumulators such as Ultratech and Ambuja, which are already on the prowl, and these mid-cap targets might show a dramatic increase in price over the next 1 year or so.
So looking at the cement stock, we've seen some significant rally. Talking about the first stock which you mentioned, Ultratech, the stock is almost up by 20% in this quarter itself. And also, if you look at the profit growth is almost close to 40% over the CAGR of the last 3 years. Sales growth is in excess of 17-18%. So overall, the growth trajectory is there intact for the company, and the company is also trading at record highs. But only on corrections one can look at the stock. If I look at some other cement stocks on the I would say the smaller ones, in that case, India Cements is one stock one can definitely keep a close watch on. It is trading close to its record highs, and if I look at India Cement in terms of its, I would say, overall opportunity and potential, so this is one company one can keep a close watch on. Sustaining above the 300 mark, it has the potential for a rally, a significant rally. So this is one stock one can keep a close watch on in the cement space as well.
Okay, got that. Very quickly, we'll also introduce our other guest to you. Now, Vaishali Parikh is joining in, Vice President Technical Research and Analysis at Prabhudas Lilladher. Right before the pre-opening, and warm welcome to you, Vaishali. Where are you keeping your eyes out on today on the first day of the month, of the quarter, and of the second half of the calendar year?
Very good morning, all of you. Yes, so market is continuing to show strength, but well, now, as we always talk that there is cyclical movement, so we are looking at few of textile stocks from here on.
Okay.
Okay, Vaishali, good morning to you. What we'll do is we'll just dip into the pre-open for a minute or so, and then we'll come back to your stock ideas for today as also for the month of July. Flat as flat can be, 14 points lower on the Nifty, now in the green, 15 points higher, 24,000 is where the bulls and bears will battle it out on this first day of Monday. What's clicking well? Okay. Tata Motors, 6.5 rupees higher at 996. Remember, autos will be in focus today because we'll have all June volume numbers coming in. It's an absurd price on Reliance. I will not show it on screen, but let's start with the Infosys, 17 rupees higher, 1584. This is positive. Let's start on HDFC Bank now flat almost. It just showed a green tick, 1683. We let these prices settle. It's just absurd to talk about prices that change every second between positive and negative territory. But for the moment, let's focus only on Tata Motors and ITC amongst the top heavyweights. As far as F&O is concerned, okay, Oberoi Realty, like I'd mentioned, we'll be keeping an eye out on all Mumbai-based real estate stocks. A very nice uptick in registrations for the month of June in MMR, which is the Mumbai metropolitan region. Therefore, Oberoi Realty is in focus, 6.5% higher, 1879. We'll also keep an eye out on Lodha, that is macro developers. Okay, NSE 500. Let's look at some gainers here. Okay, Signature Global. This is a Gurgaon based real estate company. They've also come up with an announcement that their recent project got 200% more demand than what was on the table, 6.5% higher, 1480. Okay, what else is clicking? CDSL 3.5% higher, 2467. Needless to say, this is a record high. It's the pre-run up, it's the run up ahead of the split ratio announcement. Sakshi mentioned Cochin Shipyard, 2.9% higher, 2280. Let's look at some other stocks that are buzzing in terms of gains. Okay, it's the realty space today, as also Home Finance. So Canfin Home 949, 3.7% higher. We have the usual suspects. BEL 2.3% higher, 313. In the dying moments of Friday's trade, an order worth more than 3,000 crore rupees was announced from the Indian Army by BEL. We'll keep an eye out on that. The market still fairly volatile. We'll get back to Vaishali and then come back to the Lal Street. Vaishali, good morning. A very warm welcome. Two stocks you think will be outperformers for the month of July, given the background rally that we've seen in June? Nifty up 6%.
Yes, so if we were to take Nifty for further higher targets of 24,500, then I would lay my bets on, I would continue to stay positive on HDFC Bank, which has already tried to give a breakout. So one is HDFC Bank, and along with that, of course, Kotak Bank. And I would not rule out IT sector, which I have been recommending since quite a while, because IT stocks really need to buck up for participation and Nifty to go towards 25,000 levels. So I would look at Infi, TCS, Wipro. These are the stocks that look very favorable even now.
We will be keeping an eye on these heavyweight counters as well. How about Bharti Airtel, Vaishali? Are you keeping an eye out on that after the tariff hikes? There are a slew of brokerage houses reports upping the targets even to 1740 odd levels. How are you looking at Bharti Airtel at 1428?
Well, yes, I would have a positive bias, but yeah, I mean, Friday's candle was a bit dicey. So I would say 1400 would act as a very good support. That would be the level that I would look at. And I think going ahead, one can look for a target of 1550 to 1600 from here on.
And other telecom stocks, where are you keeping an eye out on? Are you looking at the frontline players like Vodafone itself, or are you looking at the ancillaries like Indus Towers?
So yes, I mean, of course, the Vodafone gradually has shown conviction and it is ready for a breakout. So I would say 1850 is the hurdle that one needs to look at. Once we see a decisive move above 1850, we are looking at a target of 2025. Besides that, well, Tejas Network, even Indus Towers, they all look very favorable, and my view stays positive for the same.
Fair point. Sakshi, cement mid-cap is in focus. We look at Udaipur Cement, 1% higher, 45.75. You have a decent green tick in ACC, 0.5% higher, 26.37. 0.5% higher on Sagar Cement. Within the PSU pack, a very strong move coming in IREDA. This is news driven, 4% higher, 198.50. We've mentioned a couple of defense stocks which are in the green. Let's look at railway. This should move ahead of the budget, and I'm keeping an eye out on all three listed wagon makers, which is Tex Rail, Titagarh Wagon and Jupiter Wagons, because the fourth player in the sector, which is an unlisted company called Modern, has input a force majeure expressing its inability to supply wagons to the railway because of a huge problem with its labor force. So that order might get split between Texrail up 1%, we have JWL, which is Jupiter Wagons, up 0.5%, and of course Titagarh, the counter, has been a very strong outperformer. So we'll keep an eye out on these. Prices have somehow settled 36 points lower on the Nifty, 23,980. Let's look at a couple of stocks. HDFC 7 rupees lower, 1679. Axis and ICICI up in the green. What else is buzzing? Reliance 13 rupees lower, 31.17. Let's get Vaishali into the conversation. Vaishali, any view that you would have on Reliance, maybe a medium term outlook? What are the charts telling you?
Yes, so we have seen a good volume pickup, good buying seen in this. So, well, 3,200 acts as the near-term resistance. Above that, one can aim for a target of 3,500 levels. So, for a fresh entry, well, 3,000 acts as a good support, I think.
That there is defense space is going to be in spotlight yet again. Garden Reach has just announced it's got an order from Bangladesh's defense ministry for about $21 million. It's another order that's coming in. So the stock is inching higher by 1.3%. Vaishali, we did ask Amar, how is he approaching the defense space? How about you? Technically, which are the stocks that are looking stronger despite the run up that we've seen?
So, well, as you just mentioned, Garden Reach, then I have always been recommending Paras on your channel. So, yes, that is the stocks which has already given good return. And I think it's still, there is a lot of scope for further upside. Besides that, Zen Technology also is on my radar because that has also run up very well. And we still continue to have a positive bias. And of course, Cochin and Moscow Docks and HAL. Well, other stock that I would like to mention is BEL and BHEL for long-term perspective. I think these stocks are also good buys, buy at every decline.
Okay, I think we have the June auto sales figures for Bajaj Auto. The total sales have jumped 5%. They've come in at 3.58 lakh units versus 3.41 lakh units, and this is on a year-on-year basis. The total domestic sales are up 8% at 2.16 lakh units versus 2 lakh units. This is again a year-on-year comparison for Bajaj Auto. Let's get Amarji into the conversation since Bajaj Auto was the first one he discussed within the auto space. Amarji, after this new figures that have come in, how are you looking at it?
Yeah, I would say that Bajaj Auto is a stock which one can definitely look at from a long-term perspective, but currently we are seeing some sort of consolidation in this particular stock. See, it all depends upon, because a lot of rural demand is expected to really pick up over the next, I would say, a couple of years. So bodes well for the company. The stock has in itself, this year itself is up by almost 40% year till date. And so we are seeing some sort of profit booking. But overall, this is one stock one can look at from a long-term perspective, holding in one's portfolio more from an SIP mode rather than going all at one shot.
Let's get Vaishali into the conversation. Vaishali, would you have a mid-cap cement company on your radar which looks attractively priced technically? This is a space that is showing a lot of strength now, given the two acquisitions that we've seen over the last 20 odd days. A strong outperformer possibly in the cement mid-cap space.
Yes, so you're talking about Sagar Cement. I still continue to have a positive view on this. Because if technically you see the previous high that we have seen is now 300 levels, and right now it's just taking a support at 200-day moving average. So keeping in mind 220 to 30 as a prominent support, and once this stock moving past 276 to 78 levels, I think this is still positive for further upside. Same is the case with even Orient Cement. If we were to look at that, we have been in fact recommending this stock to our clients since a while, and we are seeing good run up in this stock as well. So these are all the stocks that are in the positive territory, and we would have continue to have positive for this.
Okay, numbers coming in from Escorts Kubota. Remember, this is India's largest tractor maker. It says June total sales stood at 9,593 units versus 9,850. So this is a dip, marginal dip as far as Escorts last month's sales are concerned. But the company says that it anticipates demand to improve in the coming months. Sakshi, what's on your radar?
I'm also watching Indigo at this point in time. There are upticks coming in, and that is after Kotak Institutional Equities has come out with a buy call and a 5,700 target price on Indigo as well from the aviation space. Let's get Vaishali to address. This is one stock that has definitely outperformed in the recent past. But do you still see enough and more opportunities for investors to take a fresh dip here?
So, well, the stock has been consolidating, but having said that, there is nothing negative right now. We maintain a positive bias, but I would say still wait for some dip. 3,800 acts as a very favorable support, and some buy closer to that would make it a favorable risk-reward ratio. And well, if we continue to see momentum in the market and positive bias in the stock, 4,800 should be retested.
Okay, got that. So that's as far as Indigo is also concerned. We're just about 3 minutes away from the markets to open, and looks like it could be a realty day. The Nifty Realty Index is indicating an open of 0.7% uptick right now. Amarji, in the real estate space, where are you keeping an eye out on now?
I would say, if you ask me about the real estate stocks, we've seen some very spectacular moves. Be it Brigade Enterprises. So we've been positive there on this particular stock. The stock has delivered very superior returns. But currently at the current levels, we are, I would say, slightly cautious here, given that we've seen some very sharp move and we could witness some profit booking here. But overall, if you ask me the macro structure and the major return drivers for this sector, they continue to remain positive because interest rates definitely have peaked out, so there are chances of rate cuts. Whether RBI is first as compared to US Fed, that is something that needs to be watched out. All depends upon how really the monsoon plays out and the inflationary trends going forward over the next, I would say, not couple of quarters, I would say couple of months. So this is one sector, and also one interesting aspect which we are seeing is that a lot of developers have now spread out across segments. Earlier, many of them were focused on luxury segment, and then they had taken a hit. Now they are building across different sectors, segments, and affordable housing across cities. So that's really what is really helping them. And yes, the luxury segment, that seems to have really taken off quite well. And I would say the higher premium and the luxury, and that is there to stay at least for the next couple of years. That's very clear. So these bode well for these companies. But yes, you have to be, I would say, picky here, and because valuations are high for some of the stocks.
Okay. Shail was reading out the Escorts numbers. The company has also said that monsoon is progressing well and continuing government support, including increase in MSP. They also anticipate the demand to improve in the coming months. So these could be the triggers on which they are betting big on as well. Your own sense, Vaishali, on Escorts?
Well, I do like this stock personally, and I think 900 acts as a good support to continue holding this with a trailing stop loss, and even for a new buying opportunity, 3,900 acts as a very good support. And I think this stock is heading towards 4,800 to 5,000.
Right. Sakshi, you should have asked Vaishali about BMW and Mercedes. अभी tractor उन्हें कहाँ से पसंद आएगा? But be that as it may, the markets have opened. Let's look at what the Nifty is telling us. A mild green uptick, 13 points higher, 24,018. Bank Nifty opens in the red. IT index opens in the red, but a strong show on the Nifty 500. Our broadest measure, up 24 points at 22,580. Immediately, let's look at what is HDFC Bank doing. Down 20 paisa, 1683. Nothing to be worried about. Reliance down 9 rupees at 31.22. Infosys is also slipping 3 rupees lower, 1563. How about TCS? Mild green uptick, 4 rupees higher, 3908. Let's look at what ITC and Hindustan Unilever are telling us. ITC 70 paise higher, 425, and nothing happening on lever. So this is how the pre-open, this is how the index heavyweights are structured. Tata Motors is the top gainer, a third of a percent higher, 992. So there's nothing happening in index heavyweights. Very quickly, let's look at the outperformers in F&O stocks. Okay, let's look at the top gainers. Hero Motors and Bajaj Auto, 1.78% higher on Hero. Remember, a price uptick of 2 percentage points comes into Hero's vehicles, as also for Tata Motors. Bajaj Auto numbers just out, for 5% rise in annual sales as far as June is concerned, 9641, 1.45% higher. Let's look at most active counters. BEL is the top traded one, 1% higher, 309 for you. Bharti Airtel 1% higher, 1459. There is a 2.5% drop in Idea Cellular, 17.41. This is despite news that the company will raise prices of its tariffs from July 4th to the extent of 12 to 20%. We'll see how it pans out. Let's look at NSE 500 and then I'll approach Vaishali. Okay, CDSL. This is the top gainer, 4% higher, 2485. Remember, this is the run up to the stock split ratio that we still need to know. This is again one of those outperforming stocks. Vaishali, let's look at what CDSL is trying to tell us. Is this momentum that should be tracked and captured, or would you stay away? 2516, already 323 crores have been traded.
I would say stay put, hold on to the stock. 2800 cannot be ruled out.
Okay, Cochin Shipyard and Garden Reach are the two other winners, 2% higher, and you have a very sharp uptick which is coming into Raymond. Remember, this is the realty space, 4% higher, 3059, and of course a strong move also coming into 361. Remember, this is the financialization of asset themes that we have been tracking. 361, this is a very well known wealth asset management company, and it's also doing pretty well. Sakshi, what are you watching?
Irida, that's up 4.5% on that update on loan sanctions disbursements. It's doing very well in the early morning trading session. Let's get Amarji to talk about it. And JK Tyre, that's another one that's been consistently rallying over the last week, is again up 4.5%. Amarji, Irida for you.
So looking at Irida, I would say this is one stock which has, I would say, moved up. But it's more of a consolidation which this particular stock is currently witnessing. And if I look at the sales growth and the profitability for the company for the last 3 years, profit growth is almost in excess of 44%. Sales growth has also been there around 23%. And stock P is the stock is currently trading around its P of around 40-42. So overall, what we are seeing is that there is some sort of I would say loss of momentum there amongst investors, and we could witness some consolidation, but the overall trend remains positive. Good buying levels on the downside would be around 160, 170 levels, not at the current levels. Okay. And talking about the other stock which you mentioned, JK Tires, yes. This is one stock I would say definitely looks promising on the charts, and also technically, if you ask me. It is doing well in terms of stock P. We are seeing somewhere around 14. We've seen some spectacular growth in terms of profitability for the company in the last 3 years. Growth rate is around 18-20%. So this is one stock one can keep a close watch on. I would say one level to watch out for is 450 levels. Sustaining of that level, the stock has a potential 8 to 10% rally once it sustains above the 450 levels.
Okay, got that. On the tire space, Vaishali, your own sense, how are you approaching these stocks like JK Tyre, Seat and even Apollo Tyres? They were all rallying on Friday.
So I think yes, I have been tracking Apollo tires and of course all these tires in sync. So JK tires also I think it's gaining a lot of strength. I mean right now also technically very well placed. It has been consolidating for a very long time between the range of 430, 450 levels. So right now what we need to see is further confirmation. The stock needs to move past 450 decisively, and if it sustains above that, I think we are ready for a target of 520 and so on. And likewise, well, I maintain a positive bias on Apollo tires also because that too is already in a trend, and we can see the stock moving above 560 levels.
Okay, Sakshi, I think today is again the turn of Garden Reach shipbuilders. A series of blocks that's happened on my screen. 2185 is what I see on the price as far as the gains are concerned. Vaishali, where is Garden Reach likely to aim at today?
I think 2300 intraday gains can be the target.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
2300 for an intraday purpose, 2300 should be the target.
Okay, my apologies, I couldn't hear that. 2300 is what it looks like, already up about 4.81%, and the volumes are now substantial. The other counter that Amar, it has moved is KPIT Tech, 1702, and a series of blocks again buzzing on KPIT Tech. Would you hold a view on this mid-cap IT company?
Yeah, overall, if you look at the IT space, we are seeing some positive momentum building up, I would say, because of some support coming from the US markets. And also, we see, look at the bellwether stocks like Infosys, TCS, they've also seen some upside move. So IT is now seems to be, the worst seems to be over, and we are seeing some positive momentum there. Looking at KPIT Technologies, overall, in terms of the PE, that's significantly higher in excess of 70, 75. But overall, if I look at the profit growth in terms of the sales growth, that also is promising. Profit growth has been around 55% on a CAGR over the last 3 years. Sales growth has been around 33%. So overall, the company is positive in terms of price momentum. We are seeing the stock trading around the 1700 mark at its record highs. Wouldn't recommend buying at these levels, but yes, any pullback can be a buying opportunity. On the upside, we could look at levels of close to 1850, 1800, 1850 levels.
Okay, got that. I'm also going to be looking at the pharma space today, and two stocks right there. Wockhardt, that's rallying very, very sharply in trade today, about 13.5% of a surge. I think there was some momentum also built up in the last week, and that is getting carried on. And the other one is JB Chemicals and Pharma. Here there is a Kotak institutional report which has initiated a buy with a target price of 2025 on the stock, and the stock has already rallied about 7.5% in the initial few minutes. Vaishali, coming to you, how are you looking at these two counters, Wockhardt and JB Chemicals and Pharma?
Well, Wockhardt has opened with a gap up and it is sustaining. So I think it's heading towards a weekly resistance of 805. So above 805, we would be still aiming higher, looking at a target of 1,500. So, well, Wockhardt, one can be an aggressive buyer with today's low as stop loss. So my view is positive on that. And the other one you asked me is JB Chemicals, right?
Right.
Well, so JB Chemicals too opening very strong, a strong bullish candle, already 8% up. So we'll wait and watch, not to buy right now, but given a chance, 1800 acts as a good support. So I would say 1926 is the hurdle. Above that, we are looking at 2300.
Okay,
got that. Amarji, anything specific within the pharma space that interests you, sir?
I would say among the pharma space, if you ask me, Cipla is one stock which one can look at. It has not been really performing well, and we've seen some sort of consolidation happening there. But these are very crucial and critical levels from where we could witness a temporary respite and a bounce back. But again, on the upside, it seems to be capped. So it's good from a trading perspective, 1400 and 1600, that's the range. Any pullback is a buying opportunity, but more from a trading perspective, not from a long-term perspective.
Okay. And for Wockhardt, I think there's also a circuit revision that has happened from 5% to 20%. Also, that is also behind the kind of momentum that we are looking at right now. Yours, Shell, what exactly are you looking at now?
Sakshi, I think Maruti is something that needs to be focused on for two reasons. It was Nifty's worst performer in June, and now you have the monthly sales data, which is likely to propel it higher. Positionally, Vaishali, what are the charts of Maruti telling you?
So, in fact, I was just seeing the whole of auto sector this morning, and I think most of the sectors are still looking very promising. And Maruti right now, I would say yes, there is a bit of a corrective move, but as long as 12,000 levels are held on, I think the stock is ready for further higher targets. We need to wait and watch. Above 1280 would bring further confirmation for the stock to go towards 13,500 to 14,000 levels. So I would say, one can start accumulating from here.
Fair point. Keep an eye out on Maruti. We'll be highlighting a couple of options trade there as well. Sakshi, the other stock on the move is Policy Bazaar, a series of small blocks that have happened as far as charts are concerned. 1472. This is PB Fintech, already up 4.5%. I will presume this is a record high. Yes, so it's a breakout. Vaishali, charts of Policy Bazaar, what according to you is happening? And of course, this is a price breakout and possibly a volume breakout, which will just tally in terms of numbers traded. Your view on Policy Bazaar?
Yes, so I think it has done very well, and the highest high what we've seen is 1470. So I guess the way the volume and everything has been picking up, 1470 needs to be crossed, and we can look for a target of 1750 to 1800 from here on.
Okay. Garden Reach is on a tier already at 2247. Needless to say, this is a record high. The counters now up 7%. 304 crores have been traded. We've just got Vaishali's target for an intraday level of 2300. Let's see how it pans out. But on the move, Mazgaon up 1.5%. Strong volumes, 328 crores. And on the move, Cochin Shipyard 3% higher, 2288. All three defense shipbuilders are in very fine shape, and of the top 4 top traded, Sakshi, 3 are defense counters. Yours?
So the defense space continues to move up very, very sharply. Let's again look at some of the other stocks that are actually doing well within the broader scenario. I think it's the pump stocks that are coming back. Shell, so Shakti Pump, Roto Pumps, those are the stocks that are actually coming back. So fertilizer focused, agri focused stocks, they're also performing well. Let's get Vaishali to answer. In case any of such stocks are also on her radar, look at Roto Pumps. It's like almost 10% higher today. Shakti Pumps is like 5% higher. How are you looking at these irrigation based stocks now that the monsoons are progressing?
I think they should do well, but not a good buying opportunity right now because the stocks have really risen very high. So to those who have already bought should continue, and others can wait for a dip.
Okay, got that. Okay, there is a news flash that I just wanted to read out for all our viewers. The 19 kilograms commercial LPG price has been slashed by 30 rupees starting today, that's 1st of July, to about 1646 rupees per cylinder. So it's the commercial LPG prices that have been slashed very, very sharply in trade today. We'll just keep an eye out on that space in case there is anything else that also comes in following that on the retail pricing of the LPG as well. Apart from this, let's again look at some of the other stocks that are actually doing well. Okay, before that, first let me also take Amarji's view on the fertilizers and irrigation based stocks. Amarji, yours, anything that you are looking at positively?
I would say amongst the fertilizer space, we've seen some very sharp move, but currently we are witnessing some sort of consolidation there. So I wouldn't really be looking at the fertilizer space right now.
Okay, got that. Now, within the broader markets, there are several other names. So, Raymond, I think Shail was pointing out, it's up 6% higher now. Then we also have names like Atul Auto from the Auto Ancillary Pack doing very well today. I think it's up about 10% odd in trade. Apart from this, Indocount Industries, that's up 7%. I'm just talking about various stocks that are catching my attention. Shanti Gears is up about 7% in trade today. Auto Ancillary Pack for you, Vaishali. How are you looking at these? Shanti Gears, Atul Auto, bearing makers, anything that strikes positively to you?
So, well, yes, Shanti Gear has been on our radar since quite some time, and I think today's move has been very, very strong. I mean, opening with a gap up and all, and I think it's also given a breakout on the weekly chart. So, I guess now I would say 580, 590 acts as a good support, and going ahead, we can look for a target of 670 to 680.
Fair point. Again, we'll come back to momentum. Sakshi, there's a digit change in Oracle Financial Services, now in 5 digits, above 10,000. Needless to say, this is a record high. The counter is 3.5% higher and running on what is substantial volume for itself. There is a strong breakout on KPIT, which we are already tracking. And if KPIT is buzzing, there is no reason for Birlasoft to be quiet. At about 703, Birlasoft is also buzzing very strongly in trade. Vaishali, charts of Birlasoft, in futures it's up 1.3%. What are they telling you?
I would say continue. I mean, this is a buy from my side. I mean, I have just recommended right now. I think this is heading towards 730. So, as a trading strategy, also one can look for 730. But for a long-term positional trade, I think the stock is ready for a target of 780, 790, and 600 acts as a good support. So, it is a buy.
Fair point. This is something that in the IT space we are tracking for 2 reasons. Remember, IT was one of the pillars of support as far as Nifty is concerned last week. We'll just show you the chart. 230 points higher as far as the index itself is concerned, 36,400, almost right there. And the other thing that's buzzing for the IT space is the consistent short covering that we are seeing in the FNO space. Look at Persistent, look at Emphasis, and the 2 other stocks that I have mentioned, KPIT as well as Birlasoft. Keep an eye out on there. That's value to be had as well. Some more news coming in, and this time from Asian Paints. It says that its manufacturing unit at Mysuru, Karnataka, with an ultimate production capacity of 6 lakh kiloliters per annum, will be implemented in a phased manner with an initial production capacity of 3 lakh kiloliters per annum. So, capacity at the Mysuru plant is being doubled, and it says an amount of 1,305 crore rupees has been invested to double this installed capacity to 6 lakh kiloliters per annum. Let's see what Asian Paints is doing on the charts, down 8 rupees plus. Keep these news in mind. Sakshi, no stopping Canfin Homes, 929 for you. The counter is 1.5% higher. Vaishali, Canfin Homes, record high, further movement.
Yes, I would say book partial profit or keep a trading stop loss because it's really seen a good run up coming one way. So 970, 980 would be the next target.
Okay, got that. You know what's ticking higher in the FNO space? It's PVR Inox. And I've heard, I have not seen, that there are some very good movies that have hit over the weekend, like Kalki 2898 AD and even Jat and Juliet by Diljit Dosanjh, and many people are raving about it across social media. Amarji, what's happening at PVR Inox? Anything positive?
I would say if you look at the company, basically it's still, see, what happens is that in this entertainment industry where they are where they function, there's a lot of I would say movement of volatility in terms of revenues, because that also depends upon the quality of films that movies that come out. So that has an important role to play. But the good part is now we are seeing a lot of diversification happening there as well in terms of all these chains of cinema houses. They are looking at sports also as an opportunity, which really is helping them. But that's still a long way to go. Looking at this stock, I would say more of a range play currently. On the upside seems to be capped around 1600 odd levels, on the downside around 1300. So 1600 is a range that it seems to be looking at. Fundamentally, I would say there's not much to say here.
Okay. Finance space also seems to be buzzing. Vaishali, I think Canfin Homes is something that Shail mentioned. I'm also looking at Manappuram Finance. That's also taking higher in the F&O space, 2.5% higher. Then we have Credit Access Grameen that's moving up, Muthoot Finance, PFC REC, HDFC AMC, Cholamandalam Investment. There are several stocks that are buzzing. How are you looking at this entire finance space, NBFCs?
So there's still a lot of scope upside. So let's talk about credit Grameen. So 1430 acts as a hurdle. Above that, I think the next target one can look at is 1550. So these are all the stocks which look promising right now. In fact, even let's talk about Bajaj Finance. That too has not participated. So for a momentum trade or for a positional trade, all these look pretty promising.
Okay, Sakshi. I think we'll have to put our hands together for Vaishali, and we'll just put out the chart of Garden Reach Shipbuilders. Needless to say, this is a record high, but 2284, and this is right very close to what her intraday target was of 2300. Vaishali, would you like to close the trade? 16 रुपए किसी और के लिए छोड़ देते हैं या लगता है अभी और जान बाकी है? At this point, it's 8.8% higher. Vaishali.
So intraday के लिए कुछ बुरा नहीं है अगर profit book करना है, but otherwise continue holding.
Okay, fair point. Let's keep that in mind. The value traded is now 590 crores. And just a small point of note, remember, the circuit has been revised downwards on Garden Reach. So it's 2309. 10% circuit, of which 8.7 is already with us. You wanted to add something, Vaishali?
I just said it can be a good circuit candidate. So yes, that's where we are heading.
Okay, and I wish you had asked for something else. It's already 9.2, so 0.8 left, which is 2309. It's a sort of a no-brainer. Now, what after GRSC? Cochin or Mazgaon?
Well, they both actually move hand in hand, so hard to tell, but well, both are looking good to me.
Okay, Vaishali is being modest, but that's how it is. The percentage rise on Cochin Shipyard is for the moment 4% higher. That's what I see on the screen, and the circuit limit here is 2436. अभी ये बहुत दूर है, but keep an eye out on this one as far as the percentage uptick is concerned. Very, very strong move coming in all the three shipbuilders. What else is buzzing? It's the fertilizer space led by FACT, GSFC and GNFC. And Sakshi, railways are making a very, very strong comeback, and that's starting with RailTel 1.6% higher, 473. There is no stopping TexRail and Jupiter Wagons. Between the two, Vaishali, TexRail and Jupiter Wagons, what would you choose?
I would go for TexRail because that has already given a breakout recently, and I think this can go towards 280 to 300. So this still looks quite appealing to me. And Jupiter, well, continue holding. Let's wait for a dip because we've already seen a good run up. Well, I would buy this too. I mean, 650 acts as a support, so buy closer to the support level. But TexRail is showing a lot of strength to me right now.
Okay, got that. Again, another space that is again buzzing is the consumer durable space. That's almost up 1% now today, and within that, it's Havells that is definitely, driving the move. It's up by about 2.3%. Dixon is again up about 2.3%. Blue Star, Kajaria, Crompton Greaves, Voltas, all of them over 1% higher in trade. Amarji, what looks positive within the consumer durable space? Are you looking at this one?
Yeah, we've been positive here, and Voltas was one stock which we had been talking about for quite some time. And if you look at the other stocks, again, Blue Star, we are seeing some sort of consolidation and profit booking happening here. So at the current levels, I wouldn't recommend entry at the current levels. Only on pullback, one can look at buying. Havells India is one stock. But overall, in terms of the pricing, one needs to be slightly cautious. Though the stock is moving up, seems to be capped around the 1950, 2000 levels. On the downside, seems to be supported around the 1700. So it's more of a range play, what I'm seeing for most of these consumer durable stocks.
Okay, got that. So that's the consumer durable space for you, and the view coming in on that. Indian Energy Exchange, I wanted to take with you, Vaishali. That stock is up by about 2.7% in the F&O space. There has been a consistent move on IEX over the last 5-10 days odd. Coming out of a wide, long time consolidation and even volatile trends that we've seen in the past. Is there more clarity on which way is IEX really headed?
There is no doubt in the stock that the trend is so strong. It has, after a very long time, got into a good trend. So I would say now 175 acts as a support. And if I see the weekly chart, this is just the beginning. So if 175 acts as a strong support, in all likelihood, this stock can go towards 220 to 240. We're talking about IEX, right?
Yes, Indian Energy Exchange.
So that is my view for IEX. I would be a buy, give a buy at these levels.
Fair point. I think, Sakshi, let's do some option mapping. And again, you need to speak to your financial advisor before you take such trades or get into the options market. The best is just watch. I'll get your attention here, Vaishali. It's Hindustan Unilever. The stock's moving very sharply from its 200-day moving average. 2500 call, if you would like to comment upon. At the moment, the 2500 rupee call on Hindustan Unilever is at 55 rupees. It's moved 7 rupees since I spotted it. Where is this headed, Vaishali?
So I would say Hindustan Unilever right now, I think one of the nearest target that I can look for is 2560 levels. So, well, it could be a good positive trade.
Okay, yes, this is the call which is right there in front of you, 48.7. The price that is now ticking in the markets is about 55. Keep an eye out on this one. The charts of levers is showing strength, and this is a move that is coming in strongly. One more space I'll mark, it's a record high probably, which is Natco Pharma. This is a company whose medicine Remdesivir is doing phenomenally well, and no, this is not a record high, but it's moving in that direction. A very quick one on Vaishali on Natco Pharma. The most recent high was 1261. After 5-6 days of correction, the stock has started swinging up. What is it telling you?
I think chart of all periodicities, even monthly chart is showing a lot of strength. So going ahead, I think now one can consider this stock with 1000 as support. If we are talking about long-term perspective, I think this can go towards 1500, 1700 and 1000 acts as a good support.
Okay, got that. So that's the view coming in on this space as well. Let's again look at where else can we look for momentum play at this current level. Is metals on your radar, Vaishali, by any chance? Are you looking at some such stocks? They were in focus last week too. Again today, some of the stocks are buzzing here.
Yes, in fact, all have a look at Jindal Steel and Power, JSW Steel, even Vedanta. They are all showing some strength right now. So even for a long-term perspective, I think these stocks are very well placed for higher
Okay.
value.
Okay, Amarji, your top favorite metal counter, JSW Steel. Okay, so Amar, I believe, is not here with us. We will again look at some of the other focus stocks. Then it's the PSU space that is again throwing out some names. Even though the index is flattish with a negative bias, stocks like NMDC, BEL, PFC, Steel Authority, even LIC, IRCTC. HAL, GAIL, BHEL, these are the stocks that are actually buzzing. What within the PSU space, Vaishali, are you keeping an eye out on?
So right now I'm looking at NALCO and NMDC. I think these are good levels to start buying once again. Let's talk about NALCO, National Aluminium, that is 190 right now. So I think after a brief consolidation, the stock is showing strength. I think with 187 as a stop loss, the stock can go towards, on an intraday perspective, 193 needs to be breached, and we can then look for 200 levels. So Nalco is one stock, and talking about sale, I think it has not participated, and these levels look pretty good to me for fresh entry.
Okay.
Let's again come back to the IT space. Sakshi, the more I try to avoid it, the more it sort of pokes my eye. And now let's look at Birla Soft again. This is accompanied by a 3.2% rise in open interest. I'll request the PCR to fire a longer term chart of Birla Soft, and once the look of the chart is there in front of you, you'll understand why this stock is moving with the rapidity that it already has. 2.3% higher. Vaishali's mentioned that it's one of her favorites, so keep that in eye as far as prices are concerned. And Oracle Financial Services, Sakshi, we mark the price, but never the volume. The volume is dramatic today. It's the top traded active future for the IT space, so keep that in mind. Again, 5 digits, there is nothing much we can do about it except to feel sorry about ourselves. We used to discuss it at 3,300, 3,400, and then there was a blowout quarter that came in, and from that level it's moved dramatically. Policy Bazaar, we marked it at about 1412, now 1476, a blowout happening there, record high, 5.5% higher. Again, block deals happening. And Sakshi, today's stock will be RailTel, 4.8%, 480.25, 3.2% higher. Vaishali, what is your magic on RailTel telling you?
Well, RailTel, yet again, a good strength seen. 450 would be the support, and on near-term basis, I would say 460 as the support and 500 as the near-term target.
Okay, got that. This entire rural focus is seeming to come back. We were discussing the farm-based stocks like pump stocks, fertilizers, irrigation-based stocks, two-wheelers like Hero Moto are doing well. Even FMCG counters are now coming back into focus. So Imami is up about 9.5% in trade, 10% now. A sharp up move that's coming in on this FMCG counter. Vaishali, is this specific to the company, or do you see the entire FMCG space coming back into flavor? And what is your view on Imami?
I think Imami has already got into a very strong trend, and it's doing well. Today's candle also shows a lot of strength. So I'm seeing the chart of all the time period. I think it should be hold right now, not a buy right now. But yes, in FMCG counters still, as I've been mentioning, ITC, HUL, all these are stocks which still have a lot of upside. So yes, my view positive on the sector on the whole.
Okay, got that. Again, let's look at some other stocks that are finding favor within the markets. We marked many of them already. Nahar Polyfilms is something that's up 9% from within the broader market space. Very rarely do we talk about some such stocks like Asahi Songwon, that's up by 8% odd. Umang Dairies is up by 8.5%. Then you have stocks like Epigral, that's up by 7%. Varied stocks and varied sectors that are throwing up some names like that. RKEC Projects is up and about. Anything that strikes positively to you within the names that I mentioned, Vaishali?
Well, Umang Dairy and all, I'm not really tracking, but Asai Samwang and all, yes, they are quite good. So yes, positive view on that. But I'm not really watching it on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. I remember we were discussing the auto ancillary pack also, Vaishali, with you. Samvardhan is something that is again coming back in action, I think, within the FNO space. How are you looking at Samvardhan Motherson now?
So Samvardhan, we have met with our technical target of 200, but the way the stock is moving, I think 170 should be acting as a good support. And the next target that one can look at is 210 to 20. That's how I would, but I would be cautiously positive at these levels. In fact,
Okay,
few
ladies and
stocks.
gentlemen, 9:51, 10 minutes left to wrap this one up. Vaishali, you were saying something.
So there's one stock which could be a good trade right now is have a look at exchanging solution. This is one stock in the cash category. I mean, there is good strength seen. There is decent volume today, good bullish candle, and it's trying to come out of its consolidation. Have a look at exchanging solution.
Okay, Isalya, yes, of course. This was erstwhile Kale Consultants. Somewhere in 2002, 2003, they got listed. They are a airline focused software company that designs back end software for airlines to function possibly, and yes, a very nice high beta counter at some point of time. 24,080 as far as the Nifty is concerned. The low for today was 24,000. Let's see if 24,100 can be taken out. Remember, there's a very, very strong resistance at 24,100 and even stronger one at 24,200. But this is a phase where the intraday highs are coming thick and fast. Policy Bazaar 5.7% higher, 1477. There is a very strong uptick in the entire fertilizer pack led by RCF, NFL, all of them showing a nice 3-4 percentage point upticks. And in the broader market, the NSE 500 is 0.4% higher, doing better than the Nifty, up 89 points, 22,650. And if you look at the broader advanced decline, 1707 stocks in the green compared with 530 which are in the red. So it's a nice 2.5:1 kind of an advanced decline ratio, translates to 5:2. And we tracked 19 indices for you, ladies and gentlemen. Out of 19, 16 are, 17 are in the green, led by the small cap index, 1% higher, 18,490. Strong moves across the board, which are now seen on the screen. Sakshi, yours.
Okay, got that. So it's the entire broader market space that is showing a lot of traction. The QSR space, I believe, has something to really look at. With the slew of orders that a lot of people would have done over the weekend to watch the match, the entire space seems to be a buzz. So Domino's company, Jubilant Food Works, is up by 1.5%. You also have Barbecue Nation's Hospitality, that's also up and about in trade. Anything specific that you're also looking at within this space, Vaishali? Or were you interested in ordering from your favorite joints over the weekend?
Yes, so I do look at Zomato. That's my all-time favorite. So that is one I do like it, yes.
Okay, so within the QSR space it's and the food delivery space, it's Zomato that you would go with. What's the next target that you have?
I think 220.
220 is the target that you have. Okay, all right. We also need to keep an eye out on India VIX viewers, about 2.8% higher at 14.1. So we'll continue to watch out at how the India VIX will also play its part after the recent run up in the markets, even though the markets still are holding above 24,000 mark and a stable view at that. I think it was the cement space that Shail you had marked. It's Grasim that's inching higher now. 1.3% uptick can be seen on this counter as well. Vaishali, within the entire cement pack, large caps versus mid caps, where are you really keeping your focus and top stocks that are on your radar?
I think the way Grasim is moving, I do like this stock because it's getting into a good all-time high territory again, and I think this can go towards 30 to 3,300. But for me, Ultratech is still my favorite as far as the front line is concerned. Well, right now we have seen a good run up, but it still continues to be a buy decline because we would be looking at a target of 13,000 from here on. And in mid cap, as I told you, Orient Cement, Sagar Cement, they are the ones which are.
Since during the day we focus only on price and volume, Sakshi, I think, and Vaishali, there is a very strong move coming in Masgaon, 4381, and this is 2.3% higher. Keep that on your radar. And what is also moving back into focus is Chambal Fertilizers, 3% higher now. This is a stock which is going to reclaim its all-time highs. Vaishali, charts of Chambal, what are they telling you?
So overall, well, we have been very bullish on the fertilizer stocks, and Chambal still continues to show strength. I think the near-term support can be taken at 495, and this should continue to surge high towards at least 580. We can have a relook from those levels.
Fair. See, the entire fertilizer space is now moving up for two reasons. Rains across North India, some of them leading to very tragic consequences, but from the market's point of view, demand for fertilizers, demand for all pesticides and all will grow dramatically over the next 15, 20, 1 month, 1.5 months. And stocks, especially Chambal, had paused for a week and are now resuming their upward trend. Keep an eye out on Chambal. A small block just happened in front of me. Small cap IT is coming back. Esselia Solutions, Tanla Solutions, KPIT, Birla Soft, Happiest Minds, all of them are now buzzing in trade. Keep an eye out on them as well. Intellect Design is up 6.5% at 1135. And what is making a comeback? It's the metal stocks. Vedant 2% higher, 463. National Aluminium 2% higher, 191. And also keep an eye out on NMDC. Sakshi.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll try to wrap up this morning edition. Many thanks, Vaishali, for being with us on this special space and sharing all your thoughts, ideas and strategies. We will keep an eye out on a whole host of the stocks that you have highlighted in trade today, including GRSE. So congratulations yet again on that one too. 0.25% uptick right now on Nifty, 24,071, 61 points higher in trade. The Nifty Bank is inching about 0.25% up, so finding its feet back after that 500-point loss on Friday. 52,473 being seen on this one. It's the small caps, consumer durables, metals, IT, which is definitely in focus. Wipro is now the top mover, 1.8% higher, followed by JSW Steel, Grasim, Hero Moto, Tech Mahindra and Hindustan Unilever, and also TCS as among the top movers on the Nifty. What's not doing well? Power space is seeing some profits being taken off, so NTPC Power Grid down, Divis down, L&T, Apollo Hospitals, Sun Pharma, HDFC Life. These are the counters that are dragging. F&O movers, PVR Rhinox, IEX, Oracle Financial Services, Dixon Technologies and Persistent. These are the top movers. On the downside, when we look at the big drags on the F&O space, again, NTPC, Apollo Tyres, MRF, Power Grid, ONGC, Lupin and India Cement seem to be on the weakness radar at this point in time as far as the F&O space is concerned. But steady state of movement that you can look at into the markets, which is very, very welcome after that stellar run that we've seen over the last 4 weeks odd. We just have to see whether this maintains towards the and this lasts towards the end of the session as well. With that, viewers, both Shail and I, thank you for watching our morning edition of Market Today on Business Today Television. But do stay tuned onto BTTV as there'll be a whole host of action that'll be up for you. 12 o'clock, there'll be daily calls. Again, that'll be a 1-hour show. 1 o'clock, we'll be back with Market Masters. And 2:30, we will be coming back with the other edition and the closing edition of Market Today. Many thanks for tuning in. PSU banks are taking a flight, 1.7% higher for this